Yo, what's up? It's your boy Currency 365. Hope you guys are doing well. Legends never die, they stay in our hearts. If you want to support us, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also you can come down here and hit the join button under the video or in our channel section. And you can also join our Patreon, patreon.com/currency365. And we also have Cash App and also PayPal for supports if you want to sow some seeds. Peace out. God bless. Enjoy the video and keep the movement going. Legends. Bye.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting and educational Bad Idea AI X Spaces. You are here very early, which means you are either listening to the recording, which is very cool that you would do that, or you're here because you followed the reminder link, which is also very cool. Either way, very cool that you're here this early. So here's the deal. If you've never been to an X Spaces, we have to do some setup in the beginning. There's some stuff that goes on in the background. We have guests that are on the way, but we have to get them in their speaker spots. We have to check on their microphones. It's a lot of stuff. So if you're here in person, you're stuck while we do the setup. It usually takes like 5 minutes. If you're listening to the recording, you could skip ahead if you wanted to like the 5-minute mark, see if we're into the business or not. Or you could also pretend you were really here and you were stuck listening to the setup. Generally, it's your choice. So we're going to go through a brief introduction of what I'm doing while we're getting everybody up in their spots. And then we will do at the 5-minute mark what we call a room reset. So hello, everyone. I'm Bad Idea. I'm actually Shane, or Pulse Digital is who I am. I'm hosting as Bad Idea. I'm one of the community members. So I get to run these things. And I'm here today to talk to StockTwits, which is very exciting for our community. We're very active over there. And I just want to give people the story of StockTwits. I just don't know how many people know how long they've been around, and they've seen a lot of stuff, you guys. So I thought it'd be a fun conversation. And I know some people here that are on the platform and they like to use it. So I thought they might have some questions. So the goal today is to kind of platform StockTwits and just hear from them, get a chance to know what they're up to in 2024 and kind of dive into what they think of AI. That's what we do, so I kind of want to know what they're thinking about AI. So hang around while we get set up. We can wait for people to request speaker spots. I'll get StockTwits up here. We can get Lightspeed up here if you guys want to hit your request buttons as I'm going through this. And then we'll also pin some posts, which if you've been a speaker, you know how that works. We'll let you pin your posts in here. Let me get StockTwits up. We get a few other people. We are going to get to the end of this, and we should have time, if I've segmented this correctly, to do a bit of an AMA. So if you think you might have some questions, or if we mention anything along the way that sparks your interest, you can raise your hand. We can have up to like 10 or 12 people, and we could wait until nearly the end, and then we'll go through some questions as well. Great opportunity to ask either myself or StockTwits or Lightspeed or anybody else questions. So let's do the mic checks. I see StockTwits is up here. Microphone check. Is that you, Tommy? How are you?
Hey, it's Shane I'm talking to. How you doing, man?
Yes, sir. I'm Shane. And this is funny, guys. We're meeting live. I didn't bother doing any green room work because I just felt confident that we were going to pull this off. I kind of threw him into this. Tommy, it is Shane. How are you?
Bro, we're both online natives. We understand what we're doing here. Much love, man. Doing well.
Cool, man. I really appreciate you doing this. I don't want to put too much gravity on it, but reaching out to you was like a blind thing that I did because our community really likes StockTwits, and I just didn't know how active you guys were on Spaces. I know you have your own platform. I know it's weird to bring a social media platform over here, but I know that you guys have so much history over here, and it would be good to talk to everybody. So thank you for pulling up the time and giving us the opportunity to kind of like ride around with StockTwits today. Lightspeed, are you over there? How's your microphone?
Loud and clear over here, man.
Cool, man. I can hear you too. Thank you for coming up today. It's good to hear your voice.
Nice to hear your beautiful voice too.
Thanks. You can keep it on, by the way. I'm totally here for it today. 2%, I see you over there. What's up, bro?
Not much. Feeling bullish. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you for stopping by. I always like it when you come by. Everybody else, as we go, like I said, if we say anything that sparks your interest, you want to come up. If you have a question, you can also use the button in the bottom right, which right now only has the number 2 on it, which is a very low and sad number. 2 is the loneliest number except for 1, which I believe is actually the loneliest number, if I remember that story right. We need more comments on that. Can you please help me out? Tell me about what you're into. Tell me about the AI stuff you're doing. Are you thinking about AI in trading? Are you using AI in your trading? Because that's kind of what we're going with. I need to see comments down there. Or if you have a question and you can't speak today, if you're stuck at work and your boss is over your shoulder, use the comment button, and I'll check down there from time to time. And if there's some questions down there, we'll pull them up. There's also a share button, which would be great if you wanted to share the spaces. You can retweet it, repost it. That's one penalty for the tweet word. Repost it. You can share it other ways and stuff like that. Quote post it would be nice. The emojis are still free. I always tell you guys you can use the emojis too. Remember, it helps me know what you're thinking while we're going along. Coming up to 1 more minute, and I'll do that room reset, and we're going to roll right into everything. We are going to try and keep it right at an hour, respecting everybody's time today. I know it's the middle of the day, depending on where you are. This is kind of lunchtime America, evening Europe. So I tried to book this as best as we could. So thanks everybody for being here. If you're all ready, Tommy, Lightspeed, we're all good to go. I'm going to do the room reset. Sound good?
Thanks, Shane. You're doing great, man.
All right, here we go. Welcome everybody back to another Bad Idea AI X Spaces. I am here in the Bad Idea AI account. My name is Shane. I'm not the dev. I'm not Bad Idea AI. I'm just a guy at the DAO. I'm a member of the community, and I get to do the voice speaking in Spaces. So I'm going to be your audio guide today through this interview with StockTwits, which is why we're all here today. We're excited to get a chance to talk to StockTwits, which is, if you already know this, I don't want to take for granted, a legacy brand in traditional finance and now cryptocurrency as well. They've been around for a long time, since at least 2008, as far as I remember. And they've cut their teeth on what used to be Twitter, and they've now got their own social media platform, and the community that we are at Bad Idea is pretty active over there. So that's why there's an overlap. And I just shot my shot one day and reached out and said, hey man, it'd be great to kind of like hear your story. I think people forget stories, and I think people identify with stories. So as much as we try and get our community to be active on StockTwits, I thought what better opportunity than give StockTwits the platform to just say, hey man, here's what we do, here's why we think it has value, and stuff like that. So that's why I did this. That's why we're here today. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to hand this over to Tommy, who's here from StockTwits, and I want him to kind of give me the who is he, what is he here for, and then give me the primer on StockTwits. Pretend our audience doesn't know anything about StockTwits, and tell me as much as you can about where they came up from. Does that sound good, Tom?
It sounds great, Shane. Let me know when to start.
Tell me a little bit about, first of all, who's Tommy, man? Why do they give you the keys to this account the same way they gave me? You're not the founder of StockTwits, right?
No, so I am a pretty much right out of college. I was a history major who didn't really know what I was going to be doing with a history degree. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of jobs laying around in history factories for me to take up. So, I was out there just looking for, things to do. And I've always had a little bit of history with StockTwits. So actually, shout out to my dad, who's listening in the audience below. He was an OG StockTwits user back in 2008. And during that time, I was going through high school as a sophomore in high school or whatever, and he would be talking to me about all of these great trade ideas that he was talking about and getting informed about, on the StockTwits streams. And so since that, age of whatever, like 15 years ago at this point, I've always kind of been aware of StockTwits, and it's always been, in the back of my mind. But, graduating out of high school or graduating out of college, there was just a random LinkedIn post being like, hey, we need some community manager for StockTwits. And, who knows what being a community manager actually entails. I think that's, you could pick your poison on how you want to define that company to company. And at the time when we were joining StockTwits, what being a community manager meant was pretty much being responsible for the entirety of the support and moderation landscape of StockTwits. So that entailed, every single reported message would be manually reviewed by me. I was in charge of the entire support@stocktwits.com email domain. So anyone who needed help, reactivating their account because they got suspended. Shout out to some of you guys in here that I know that's a little bit of a problem. And anyone who needed help resetting the password. So that was really the root of my experience at StockTwits. And then over time, the community team was able to, get its, head out of the mud of kind of the support and moderation ecosystem into more kind of community relations, posting on socials, getting active between collaborations, and really, finding ways to engage with people, on our streams, and put the most interesting things in front of them, whether that be the best contributors on the StockTwits platform or the best content as far as what's happening. And so nowadays, my role is very much along the lines of being a social conduit, posting online, whatever we were posting on our media, that's going to be me. And making sure that our community members have the best thing available to them at any given moment. So that's a quick background of my experience at Togwitz.
That's a dangerously relatable story, I think, at least for me and a few other people that I know as I look through the audience that are in here. And I damn near caution myself to say it's inspirational. And I don't want you to try and refute that at all. That's actually a really touching story. Shout out to Dad. You don't have to dox yourself down there. But that goes to show the multi-generational depth that we now have in cryptocurrency because it has been around that long. And trading is a thing that I actually, not to turn this space is super weird right in the beginning, but I talk about this stuff with my kids. She sees me with my charts pulled up and stuff like that. And what you just said really, really warms my heart to think that there's a part that goes forward from that. And here you are literally running the whole show when it comes to the social. So thank you very much for sharing that, because I think a lot of us in here are going to take that a little bit differently than maybe each one of us is taking that separately. I don't know. Light speed, what do you think of that, man?
Well, yeah, they predate crypto actually, and brought that on board. They were one of the very first that I know of that actually included the whole cryptocurrency tracking and charting alongside news and social media presence, uh, all in a connected fashion. So, I mean, you in one platform, I can also follow my own traditional investments because I keep myself pretty well rounded there. So that's why I like StockTwits. And
Right. You can't track Tesla on PooCoin, I think.
that's right.
There's a lot of other options out there, but there's certain things you just can't pull up over there. So then if that's what your background is with StockTwits, then if you had to put on the tie for a second, what's the background for StockTwits? Because I know now it's evolved into a social media platform, but wasn't it at one point reliant entirely on Twitter? Isn't that the name, right?
So yes, we used to be essentially a Twitter API function, and that's kind of one of the quirks. And I get a lot of flack for this. You see our follower count, and people are like, "Oh wow, you have 1 million followers." Well, we were the first company to really quote unquote growth hack our followers back in the day, because in order to get access to the StockTwits ecosystem, one of the requirements was actually following the StockTwits account itself. So there is definitely some jaded history to some of our following numbers that gets us in a little bit of hot water these days. But going back further, just the idea of StockTwits and why this came to be is that we're huge just believers in the power of the internet and having it being able to connect us to other things that are happening that we're particularly interested. And we don't view ourselves as on Twitter as much as we are the offspring of Yahoo forums back in the day, or just online message rooms, when there was the first opportunity to have the internet offer their opinions on what's happening in the stock market. And if you ask kind of our founders, Howard, like, they were chopping it up on Yahoo message boards, back in the aughts, talking about Apple stock back then. So we've been around kind of since the very early days, and have carried on that same tradition of, hey, we are a place for you to journal your ideas as far as what you're seeing in the stock market, and we're going to offer you a platform for other people to have visibility into what you're saying through construction of our streams. And through that combination, we've just become a real community of people who just share what they're thinking about as far as the market, what they're thinking about as far as trading. And that's it. That's just a brief background of what we're all about, like what's our history.
And dare I say, at this point, it's actually probably a more trusted source than a lot of the places that you just mentioned too, because forums do still exist, but I'm not getting my information from 4chan or 9gag so much as I might be from StockTwits or from other more reputable platforms. So you guys
it's us, right? I
Yeah.
think one of the trends that we really believe in and are passionate about is the idea that the multimedia
Are you there, Tommy? We lose you in the blockchain? That would be very X for them to get cut off. Lightspeed, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can. Yeah, it wouldn't be a surprise at all with X.
No, they always rug the best speakers. I feel like they can't keep up. Hey, Tommy, are you there? Whoa, I hear you. He's back. Bro, you're lost in the matrix. We'll get him back in just a second. So give him a chance. If you can't hear me and for some reason you can't speak, you might have to drop down and come back in. Sometimes Spaces needs to be reset like that. It's a classic Elon joke that happens in Spaces. And it would be ironic because for him to do it to you guys makes double sense. So if you need to drop out and come back, I can carry. Hey, Bo, there you are. He's back. And he's gone again.
Sorry about that, guys.
Hey, man. What's up? You're back.
I guess I was interrupted like mid spiel or whatever, but we can reset whatever you want to play.
No, hell no, we're good. That just gives me a reason to glance back at the script because otherwise I'm going to go on and on without you forever. But what I want to say was I was going to say that the legacy brand and the way that you mentioned also the follower count is hilarious because I specifically had that conversation with a couple of people about like holding back reservations about what the experience is going to be because I thought that follower count probably reflected a very interesting difference in what their community looks like because over having been that active for that long, you know, those people statistically are not still there and they've moved over to your account. So thank you for bringing that up. That level of awareness is neat because I thought the same thing.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, the name of the game is engagement. You know, having a high follow number is nice, but if people don't actually engage with your stuff, you know, what's the value of it anyway?
100%. So, and that's having said that, one more time, I'll remind everybody, comments in the bottom right went from 2 to 13. That's super helpful. You can comment down there. You can even leave links to the things that you've got going on because frankly, there are a lot of people scrolling those comments. So if you've got something cool you're up to, that's a great place to leave links to the stuff that you're doing, even if it's not necessarily a question for us. So what I did is I've got some questions lined up. I sent these ahead of time because with some of these AI related questions, I didn't want anyone to get caught off guard, but I had prepared like 5 questions about what AI is doing in the trading world. And I thought it'd be fun to ask StockTwits because we do AI. I don't know how much, Tommy, you really know about what we do and stuff. And I hope that we would both learn more. But I didn't intend to talk about us a lot today. We do a lot of cool AI stuff. We have a Telegram bot that's being developed that has a lot of cool functions. We're coming close to 100,000 people that are able to see this bot that's for free in their Telegram groups and stuff. But I digress. What I want to ask you is what you guys are thinking at StockTwits about AI, because there's got to be conversations going on both in the public places and in the backgrounds with the people you talk to about what's going on. So if you're ready, I want to jump into those 5 questions I sent you. Is that all right?
Let's do it.
All right. So number 1 that I had is very broad. So I'm asking these just because I wanted to see where he would go with this, you guys. Number 1, how is StockTwits leveraging AI technology within its platform?
All right. Yeah, real easy question for us here. So look, you know, I think at the end of the day, one of the things that has become most prominent, or you know, the biggest you know, revelation, if you will, is that you know the value of you know these AI models comes from the data set that you use to train them. And you know, there was that you know viral moment where New York Times was you know suing you know ChatGPT because it was using you know access to you know its database that you know they wanted to have you know rights over. And so you know using that analogy to our platform is you know we have a ledger essentially of the last 15 years of a community of you know millions of people offering their comments you know on what's happening in the stock market, what's happening in the crypto world, and you know just what's generally happening as far as whatever Fed or whatever market angle that you want. So okay, we have all of this data of all of these people talking about this stuff. What can we do with it as far as utilizing this to create some kind of model that is going to be able to output you know results of what people want to see, whether that's hey, give me the most bullish stock you know in the Dow Jones, or you know give me the most you know undervalued asset you know in the SPY, right? These are the questions that we think people are going to be posing you know in the world of you know AI. And for us to be able to provide the answers with the data set that we have in front of us, that's where we really see the power of you know our brand and our company being able to do something with this kind of AI world.
Even within the set of prompts that we frequently see in the groups that I'm in that use the bot, I can tell you that will definitely be the case because despite your best efforts, people will always seem to prompt the one thing that you haven't quite developed yet.
Right.
It's like they understand for some reason, but things that are up to date, metrics that are new or news that's relevant and fast, and things that can make people make faster decisions, that they can have that information at their fingertips for sure is something that's like high on the request list, something that they can integrate that data, ask a question, and be like, all right, I'm going to make this decision, and that they can trust, right? That they can trust the data. So one thing it'll be interesting for you guys if you're working on this, and I don't want you to have to say that you are or are not, but if you do have a data set available and you come out with something that is available on your platform, it will be unique in that you could say it is, trained and integrating only the data from here, or it's not being corrupted or polluted by outside actors with malicious data because it's from our own data set, if I understand that. I'm on the edge of my AI knowledge, but I think I understand that right?
Hey, yeah, you and me both. And I think the really important angle here too is that like we want to make our data available for our community to use on their behalf. Like we don't want them to have to rely on, okay, this is the StockTwits, itself model, right? They can create their own, data set or models with our, data, and that's kind of where we see it. And really, the value being unlocked there is just offering it back to the community who are responsible for the data in the first place.
And an example of this, because I think a lot of people still aren't aware of this, if you guys are familiar with the way the StockTwits platform looks, it's very similar to the X platform, the way that it scrolls and stuff. And you've seen how Grok was integrated. It would be easy to do that. Even Facebook/Meta at this point has even integrated right into the Messenger system a AI chatbot that's available. So it's the ease of integration on social media is going to determine who is using which of these bots most frequently. And they'd all prefer you to use their own bot, right? And that's going to be the case. So if StockTwits has got something unique, and that's what it takes with all these bots, if you can throw a skin over that GPT and it's StockTwits GPT and it provides that data to your users, it'll be a banger. It'll be a huge hit. Lightspeed, I know you're thinking about some of this. Can you imagine as a user both and as a developer yourself, what that would look like on their platform?
I'm a bit speechless about how much can be done on the platform, Shane. They got so many features. And right now I'm looking at their website and wondering how much of that could actually be converted over into our world. And if that's an area that they would want to even adventure into.
Sure, providing data
Yeah, I
back
mean,
and
like, look,
across like
I think
APIs.
opening up our API, like that's in the past, our last CEO was very restrictive about our API and really cut off access to it. But we kind of resent that point of view now, and we want it to be as open as possible for people to have complete visibility into the data set, so they can understand how these models are being constructed. And hey, if you want to make your own Grok using the StockTwits ecosystem, go for it.
That's interesting. I know Lightspeed's writing it down already because we think similarly and stuff, but that there's probably nobody using the StockTwits API on a Telegram yet. We're integrated into all these Telegrams. If people could query the data into those Telegram groups and stuff, and not just for crypto, but for stocks too, I feel like that'd be a huge hit. That's something to write down and circle back. I'm not going to take everybody's time here to talk about it, but somebody write that down while we're here. That sounds like a good idea, or a bad idea, as it were. Question number 2, you ready?
Well, yeah, and just to be succinct, so like how is StockTwits leveraging AI technology? It's discoverability, discoverability of ideas and searches. That's really where we see the real value. So yeah, we can move on. Yeah.
Sure. I just want to make sure that we get through at least three or four of these. Otherwise, I can tell I will take all your time today if you're not careful. Number 2 for everybody is, what are some specific examples of how AI is impacting trading strategies and decision-making processes? You've got to be seeing stuff like this, right?
So I think we've really seen like an evolution of scanners and how people, again, coming back to the idea of discoverability, like there's definitely been a lot of leveraging of AI to find new ideas. And we're seeing, entire, new companies sprout up to take advantage of this fact. And I think, FinChat is one of the ones that comes to mind where you can just type in, hey, give me the last, what is the average performance of NVIDIA after the day after the report, and they're going to spit out a bunch of data at you. And so that's really how we see AI being used right now. But I think one of the important things to hit on in the world of AI and kind of trading in general is that the actual execution of your trades and with where you're going to be trading, that has been so commoditized over the last like 10 years, where you can pretty much trade on any platform at an equal level. And so we don't really see, and AI is definitely going to make advances there, right? Like AI is probably going to help you place your trade, find the best spot to make a buy, depending on where you're interested in. But one of the things that we don't think AI is going to be the biggest lever puller on is finding these new hey, is your idea the best idea? How do you filter out bad ideas from good ideas? You have access to the world at your fingertips, but are you any good at using that and leveraging that? We do view community as becoming more important in the world of AI, because as you have more opportunity to do anything you want with ideas, finding the best ideas now becomes even more important and more critical to making the most out of your opportunity in markets. And so, whereas AI is going to totally take over on the execution side of the world, we still are very much believers that actually finding the next ideas and the most important ideas in the markets is going to come through finding people in the community that you understand and you can follow.
I agree, and that's a really good answer. There's a lot to integrate with decision making, and I think trust is something that I was just like I brought up with your data set, overcoming the trust barrier and being able to make like real, like hard decisions that you rely on AI, not just like trivial stuff, but hard decisions is going to be tough. And the third question that I had is basically the psychology of the same question. It asks, how do you see the relationship between human traders and AI evolving in the future? And that's kind of what I'm talking about. Does that trust grow over time? Do you need a certain number of successful trades or suggestions from these things before you're like, all right, I believe this, or that it's working correctly? What do you think it's going to look like?
Yeah, we're very much ready for the future that we have, a Neuralink chip in our brain, and we have a digital screen in front of our eyes, and we're just thinking about, okay, we should really be placing an NVIDIA trade at this VWAP level, and as soon as you think that, the trade is going to be executed, right? So, like, I think we're all in on that side of how AI is going to be taking over everything and how digitalized the entire experience is going to be. But still, going back to the idea of, hey, like AI can help you find the best NVIDIA trade, but is that even the thing you should be trading? How do you know if you shouldn't be trading another sector instead? And so going back to this idea that AI is going to completely overwhelm the execution side of trading, and like, okay, find the best VWAP entry, or find me the most profitable level to enter this trade. That's all going to be AI. But are you thinking about the right things? Are you looking at the right stocks? Are you asking the right questions? I think these are the things that is going to become more important on the human side that AI isn't really going to be able to address.
Sort of like execution versus interpretation. And I think maybe because it'll do things quickly, but it might not be able to absorb like 3 different news broadcasts, 2 financial reports that came out, plus data reports from the government that are coming out tomorrow, plus the sentiment that comes along with that. Like there's a lot that still goes into making those we take for granted what we call gut feelings, right? Isn't that kind of what AI can't do, is have a gut feeling about something?
100%. Yeah, I'm very bullish on instinct and all that stuff. And there's a certain human element to that AI just can't grip with.
Very bullish on gut instinct. Keep that in mind. that's probably good. No, on the other side of this coin, right? There's got to be risks associated with this integration, right? And I know you've mentioned some things, but there's potential risks with having AI involved in trading. And my first thought that comes to mind, the one I see people dealing with the most, and it's a low level version of AI, is just simple things like MEV bots and drainers that are able to front run faster and in ways that most people don't comprehend. And that's a version of like you said, an execution problem or an execution issue where something is just beating the crap out of people because it's AI and it's better, and that's what it can do. So what is StockTwits doing? What are you guys thinking about when it comes to addressing the negative side of this potential future?
So I really love the dichotomy between the words intelligence and wisdom. I think AI is going to be the smartest thing that you can interact with. It's going to be able to give you the best possible entry for a stock trade that you'd be interested in. But should you be doing that in the first place? Is that the wisest move for you, considering where you are with your personal finances and where you are with your life and all of these other kind of extracurricular things that you're just not going to be able to fully input into a prompt that's going to output something that really can resonate to you as a complete person. And so there's so much risk, we feel like, that people will leverage too much intelligence and lose a lot of the wisdom side of the brain, which is, hey, should we be doing this? Is this the correct thing to be doing? AI is just going to keep pushing the most intelligent thing forward, but as that gets kind of more and more in your face, wisdom is going to be the key differentiator in the future.